Minnesota remains the epicenter of immigration enforcement, but also fraud concerns. At thecentersquare.com, you'll find the latest story where immigration enforcement surged to end in Minnesota, according to border czar Tom Homan. Now, 5 weeks ago, 2,000 federal agents were sent, but crediting local cooperation, Homan, he says Operation Metro Surge will end next week. The move comes after last week, Homan saying that they're starting a drawdown of federal officers in Minnesota. Homan was brought in by the Trump administration after 2 individuals in Minnesota were shot and killed by federal officials amid immigration enforcement actions. Now, this morning in a U.S. Senate committee, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, he characterized the surge from the Trump administration as retribution.
This surge is all about what Donald Trump said it was all about. In a true social post on January 13th, he wrote, "Retribution and reckoning was coming to Minnesota."
Now, Homan saying this morning that he is getting more cooperation from local officials, especially when it comes to illegal immigrants who are criminal defendants in jails or in prisons being released. And Homan citing that cooperation as a reason why this operation in Minnesota could be drawn down. Now, in that same hearing where Ellison was in Washington, D.C., State Representative from Minnesota, Harry Niska, he explained why he thinks the tensions have poured out into the streets of Minnesota.
No, the public statements of Minneapolis officials have been that Minneapolis police will not assist in enforcing immigration. Perhaps they'll assist if there's some state crime that's alleged, but if ICE were to call in your scenario and say we need to pick somebody up for violating immigration law, the Minneapolis public statements have been that they won't. And the example we saw just this last week of someone who was arrested with 50 pounds, an illegal immigrant arrested with 50 pounds of meth, and January 8th was allowed to go free and had to be taken by ICE last week.
So despite Homan making the comments this morning about the rationale for drawing down federal officials in Minnesota, you can still hear some of those concerns from Minnesota representatives testifying to Congress. But again, immigration enforcement, that's not the only thing that Minnesota is getting so much attention for. There's also the ongoing questions about social services fraud. A separate U.S. Senate hearing this morning focused on that, with Louisiana U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy laying out how he's worried this isn't just in Minnesota, but it's across the country.
This is more than a Minnesota problem. And let's be clear, it isn't a California, New York, Illinois, or Colorado problem. It is an American problem. Can I see that chart? Some states have done well, and some states shamefully. And this is what we need to look at. Now, it's not enough to be angry. We got to have action. We got to have accountability. We've got to stop the fraud. We've got to protect the taxpayers. We've got to allocate the resources where the resources need to be allocated for those families who actually have the need.
And you can see just some of the highlights from that map, the child care overpayment rate for various states, ranging from 0 all the way up to, looked like Washington had a double-digit percentage error rates. Obviously, the child care system is just one component of social services fraud that a lot of people are concerned about. You have housing fraud, home services, you have a variety of other social safety nets, SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and more. But Colorado U.S. Senator John Hickenlooper, he agreed that there's a crisis with the child care program.
And it's clear that we have a child care crisis, and that crisis needs addressing. The crisis is certainly not helped by actions to freeze child care funding for entire states, such as Colorado, and what's happening there. The unlawful freezing of $10 billion in funding for child care and other social services leaves kids and providers as the collateral damage for often what is no more than political retribution.
And again, the Trump administration freezing $10 billion in child care assistance money to a variety of states that the Trump administration worries there could be fraudulent activity happening. But back to Minnesota, in that separate U.S. Senate hearing, Ellison, the AG from Minnesota, there to testify about the ongoing questions of immigration enforcement, but he also talked about some of the fraud that's brought his state so much attention.
The government has said the purpose of the surge is to fight fraud in government programs. Well, of course, I hate fraud, and my office and I are already fighting it. We've convicted 300 people of Medicaid fraudsters in the last 7 years. The government did not surge, however, forensic accountants to Minnesota.
Now, the taxpayer cost in Minnesota estimated to be in the billions, and that's just one state and a fraction of the size of a state like California.